Hey guys, what's going on? I am Devin and this is CS50X. We are looking at week 0, which is Scratch. We're going to give you some simple ways to overcome this. We'll show you how to do the objectives that are listed here in the description, and I will show you a project that I worked on that is published that you can look at, and I'll show you why that's important. So first and foremost, let's look at our requirements. Your project must use at least 2 sprites, at least one of which is not a cat. Your project must have at least 3 scripts in total, not necessarily 3 per sprite. Your project must use at least 1 condition, at least 1 loop, and at least 1 variable. Your project must use at least 1 custom block that you have made yourself via the make block, which must take at least 1 input. Your project should be more complex than most of those demonstrated in the lecture, many of which, though instructive, were quite short, but it can be less complex than Oscar Time and Ivy's hardest game. So let's go ahead and get into Scratch. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to try and keep this video short because Scratch is, generally speaking, slow. So this is more about learning what you need to do and showing you how to get some help on that and getting that accomplished. So let's go into Scratch here. This is the project I created called Guitar Hero. I'm going to run through it one time just so you guys can see what it does, and then I will walk you through the steps that the assignment is requesting. So first and foremost, we know that we need to have at least more than 1 sprite. So I actually did keep the cat. You don't have to, but I just added another sprite in there. Even though the guitar, saxophone, drum snare, and baseball are added, those don't have a ton of functionality, and I'll be getting to that shortly. So real quick, what this does is just click the green flag here. There is some sound in the background. I do have my computer muted right now, so you can't hear that. Llama wants to say something. Click on him to help. I lost my guitar. Can you help me find it? We're going to, well, let's say no first, just so you guys can see one functionality here. Llama gets, sorry about Doug in the background. Click on him again. Let's see if we can help him out. We're going to go ahead and click yes here. And he gets happy. Find the guitar. You can click on these few sprites I have in the background here. Okay, that's the baseball. If you do it, that's not it. Then when we click on the guitar, however many tries that takes us, our sprite 1 will go up there, grab it, return it to Llama there, and he'll tell you how many tries it took you to get the guitar. So we know that we already have 2 sprites, and we've got that one accomplished. So let's take a look at what they want us to check next. So 3 scripts, that's actually not going to be a problem. It's really difficult to make anything in Scratch that takes less than 3 scripts. I mean, aside from just making a couple of sprites standing around, that's not going to be an issue. So let's look at this. 1 conditional, 1 loop, and 1 variable. Okay, that actually doesn't say a variable you made yourself. I actually misunderstood that. I made the variable myself. So let's take a look at our conditional, our loop, and our variable. So we're looking at a conditional. So we're looking at like an if-then. If this happens, things like that. We're looking at a loop, so either a forever or a repeat. You saw my sprites dancing in this video here, so that is my loop there. Actually, they both have the same loop. They both do the same dance, and technically so do all the instruments, because the guitar, the snare drum, and the saxophone all do kind of a little animation, if you will, that also is a loop for them. But coding that was actually really easy because you can just copy the same loop you have and paste it onto another sprite and simply change the costumes. So I'll show you that in a second. So let's take a look at my if function. So my if function comes into play in this loop here once we receive guitar. He goes and gets the guitar. Right now it's not where it's at, but when you click the green flag it goes there. Now the reason we have an if function is that this has a counter in it, so it counts how many tries it took you to get the guitar. Because we wanted it to be correct in English, we wanted it to say it took you blank try, if it was only 1 try, to find the guitar, or blank tries if it took you more than 1 try. So we have an if, then, else. So I'm going to show you how to make this block real quick. So I'm going to go to control here, and we're just going to get this. Now, if you know, like, hey, I need 1 of 2 things to happen, whatever you're making, that's when you need your if block. So if you have 1 of 2 options happening, that's what the if block is for. So if this happens, then do this. If something else happens, or if anything else happens, then you're going to do this. So that's what we're going to get into with here. So I have the if, then, else, because I needed to say 1 try, or if it took more than 1 tries, then I needed to say this. So we have the if, then, else function here. And let's go into here, and I needed the counter function, right? So first we need to establish the baseline. So if the counter is equal to 1, so if what? If what happens? So we have to have some sort of operator there. So for me, it was the counter, because every time you click a sprite, it's counting. So if you clicked on the snare drum, saxophone, baseball, and then the guitar, it would have taken you 4 tries to get it. So we're going to go down to here. So if is equal to, if blank is equal to. Now these are pre-formatted. Don't let that scare you. The if blank equal 50. That equal 50 is just a placeholder, just like apple and banana and a and 1. All of those can be altered by you. So it's saying if what is equal to what, then what happens. So we know that if the counter is equal to 1, so we're just going to hop in here and switch that to 1. And we're going to go down to our variables. I made the counter. It said use at least one variable. I assumed it wanted me to make one, but that's okay. If you have a different variable, you can use that. So if my counter is equal to 1, then I want it to say something. Now this block you'll see is a little bit interesting. We actually had to join 2 things, and I'll show you why here. So let's go ahead and go to looks. And I always use the seconds, say blank for blank seconds, because I don't want any of the text to stay on the screen permanently. If you just say hello, it will continue to say hello until another say operator comes in. So I always use the if blank for blank seconds. So we're going to plug that in here. So if the counter is equal to 1, so if it took you 1 try to find the guitar, what is it going to do? It's going to say it took you 1 counter. So it took you counter try to find the guitar. So we have 3 inputs there. All right, that's important. So we're going to go to our operators here, and we are going to make those 3 inputs. So we want to join 3 things, but if you look here, you'll only see that I can join 2 things. Okay, so you have to think further ahead than this. So you want to join, say, join apple and banana. Drop that in there as soon as it'll let me. What's going on here? There we go. Join apple and banana. But that'll only say it took you tries 1, or it took you this many attempts equals 1. Right? There's only 2. So I need a 3rd input. So what we actually have to do is we have to join that again. So we're going to grab that same block, join apple, banana, and we're going to put it in the 2nd input here. Now we have 3 inputs. It took you blank tries to find guitar. So now we have all 3 inputs that we need. So, and we're going to put that in there just like you see it here. It took you, so it's literally just text here, so you just type that. It took you, and then this is going to be the counter. And this is for, so if the counter is equal to 1, then it only took you 1 try. So it's singular, right? Try to find the guitar, right? And then we just go down to our variables where the counter is. And now technically you don't have to put the counter in here because when the counter is equal to 1, we know it's going to say 1 try to find the guitar. So you could actually put it took you 1 try to find the guitar if counter is equal to 1. So that might have actually been easier. So kind of a live and learn. You can actually, so what that means is that if the counter is equal to 1, you could kind of take this whole thing out of here. I'm going to leave it here for a second. I'll show you why. And you could actually type in it took you 1 try to find the guitar, because we know the counter is 1, right? So more than one way to do it. And that's what you'll find about coding, is that there are a lot of different ways to accomplish the same thing, and that's going to be what the most confusing is. Anyway, let's move on to our second say here real quick. Pop it in here, and I'll show you what I mean about the kind of copy and paste function, because this is actually going to be really helpful to you. So you're going to say this, right? Drop that one in here. Else, if it's more than 1, which it could be any number more than 1, you're going to take that same block you made here and just Control-C for copyright and Control-V for paste, just like you would anywhere else. So let's just drop this one back in here as though we're using that instead of just typing out the phrase. And we're going to drop this one in here. The only thing we're going to change here is we're going to change try to tries. That's it. That's all we need to do, because it's just going to change because it took you more than 1 try to find the guitar. All right. So that's our if loop. All right. So that accomplishes that. We've got that part out of the way. That's our conditional. Now we need 1 loop and 1 variable. Our variable is actually in that if loop. It's the counter that increases every time. So I use that to make a variable, and the counter is increased by 1. And let's get to the loop here that I made. So the loop was a simple one again. I try and keep everything simple until you're more comfortable with it. You want to really keep things at a basic level until you get that down, and then you can overcomplicate things as much as you want. That's entirely up to you. So I have my loop here, right? It came from control. So let's get rid of this. it came from our control settings, right? We want a loop. So we want a repeat or a forever. Those are our two loops here. You go into repeat. We switch to costume 2, glide, switch, glide. All we're doing is creating a jump loop here, alright? So when you click on that, you'll see what he does. So that's it. He just switches costumes, glides up, switches costumes, glides down. That happens 5 times. That's our loop. That loop is found under controls right there. That's a very simple loop to do. You can make more complex ones. It doesn't matter. So that is our if loop. Now, it wants you to make a block, right? That was one of the things it wanted us to do. So make a block is actually kind of, I guess, more understandable if you're new to this, like defining a variable, right? So all I did was define jump here. Now this make a block was new, so it's not actually in my code, so you'll have to find a way to incorporate it. But what I could have done is I could have defined dance and made this jump block dance, so my loop would have been repeat dance rather than what I have in here. Hope that makes sense. So I made the jump block, click on make a block here, right? Jump. Now that doesn't actually do anything in and of itself, right? So all that's going to do is say, hey, define jump. What do you want jump to be, right? So all you've declared is that jump is going to be something that you're going to use. You haven't actually told the computer what jump is. So we're going to get rid of that, and I'm going to show you here. All we did was define jump as glide to a random position, glide to where the mouse pointer is at, and then glide back to where you were. So right now, when this sprite jumps, it will go to a random position and then follow where my mouse pointer is, right? And then go back to where he was. Now, you can switch this to a random position as well. So he just goes to 2 random locations. Now every time you use jump, he's just going to bounce around the screen. So you can use this to rotate your sprite. You can define spin, right? Define spin and then rotate 90 degrees 4 times, right? And you'll spin your little sprite around. You could do dance party where everything goes wild, where they continue to bounce to 5 different random locations, right? They'll glide there, and maybe the scene changes, something like that, okay? So once you've defined jump, which I've defined it here in this code, then you use jump, and wherever you put it in your code, every time you put it in your code, now it's going to perform the jump function. So that is a way to do that, all right? So finally, what I want you to see is when you look at Scratch projects, when you're trying to learn these things, when you're trying to learn, hey, what do I need? What is when flag is clicked? What is when I receive this broadcast message, which is going to be really important for progressing your story forward. You want to take a look at other projects and whatever you're creating, right? I'm creating a story. That's kind of what I did, right? So you want to find something that, I mean, I like recent as much as the next guy. It looks like this is a story of sorts. Maybe this looks like what I'm doing. Maybe not, but here's the point is that you can open each one of these projects and see the code. So if you find a simple one you like, then you can actually take that one and you can see inside of it. Don't really care what this does, but you can see inside of it. Come on. There we go. It'll load the project for you, just like it'll load Guitar Hero if you search mine and find mine and you want to see inside of it on what, you know, basic building blocks are to get this accomplished. Remember, you're going to have to use this block in yours, jump or dance or party or whatever you're using. You can actually take the foundations of this particular Scratch project, alter it, change the sprites, change the background, change the setting, change what they do. And then once you do that, you could kind of make it your own. It'll help you get familiar with how you're doing this, right? So going back to the one we went on, look inside, okay? This guy has a thumbnail that says, when the flag is clicked, hide. Alright. And then it looks like the background's changing, okay? And then the sprite, there's a sound playing, okay? I don't have my sound on, right? So he's switching to costumes. When the space key is pressed, okay. I guess that's it. It just goes through spaces, okay? But you can see the code within these, all right? And once you find something that you like, maybe not this one in particular, you can take that code and you can change it. So you don't actually have to do all of this on your own. You can draw inspiration from other people. So definitely keep that in mind. So This is CS50, week 0, scratch. Let's see. 2 sprites, we got that. 3 scripts in total, we definitely have that. 1 condition, we have an if, else. 1 loop, we have the repeat 5 times for dance. 1 variable, I have the counter on mine. Your project must contain at least 1 custom block that you've made yourself via makeBlock, which you must take at least 1 input. My block in that example was jump. The jump took 3 inputs. It was glide, and then return to original position. And your project should be more complex than most of those demonstrated in the lecture, many of which, though instructive, are quite short. Now again, this is just a foundation for what can be done. Once you do this, once you get used to going back and forth on Scratch and clicking, okay, I need to click here to get the say this, I need the operator because I need it to say more than one thing, and I want the events because I need this, I need that, whatever the case is, right? Once you get those things down, then you can make them more complex. It doesn't really make a big deal. In the beginning of mine, the guitar didn't move, so the cat went up and grabbed an imaginary guitar and took it to llama. Now, in mine, I was like, hey, you know what, that's a little weird, maybe the guitar should move. Unfortunately, there still is a guitar behind it, you'll see that, because originally I was using a click pointer, but, you know, things happen, and originally only these 2 danced, but later on I wanted to make the guitar have a little movement. You see the snare drums and the saxophone have a little movement as well. I left the baseball out. I could have included the baseball. There are a lot of things you could have done. So anyways, comment, let me know if you guys have any questions. I will be posting CS50 as the weeks go through, 1 to 2 videos per week, and if you guys have any questions on those, do hit me up and let me know in the comments section. As always, like and follow. If you want to support, reach out to me, let me know what you guys are going through and see how I can help you out. Thanks a lot.